All right. Good evening, everyone. One quick check with AV. Are we good here? Just let me know if the AV is good. Hello, hello. Hey, Aditya. Good evening. Good evening. Hey, Supraja. Yep. One quick check with AV. Are we good here? No one's giving me a head. The voice is breaking. One sec. Hello. Are we better? This is good now. The AV is good. Hey, Mukul. I'm good. I'm good. I'm doing really good. Thank you for asking. Folks, just give me a quick thumbs up if the AV is good. The audio is good now. Yes. Yeah. So, all right. So, welcome to the first class for your quant here for percentages at MBA Wallah. So, just a quick heads up. The entire session will go in out and out in English. Manojit is saying we are excited. Please start the class. Yes. So, just giving you a heads up. All the sessions, everything on this channel will be in out and out English. So, in case if there is someone who prefers an Hindi style or another language, I'm just giving you. I don't speak that. I do speak the language, but I'm slightly bad at it. So, I'm going to stick with English, all English here. So, let's get into the class. I'm going to talk about percentages. Now, to give you a quick intro about the topic, this topic is going to be super important. Why? Of course, the entire arithmetic module is going to be crucial. That alone can take you to the 90th percentile. When I say arithmetic, we're talking about percentages, profit and loss, SICA, averages, ratios, mixtures, time and work, time, speed, distance. All of this put together, we call it the arithmetic module. So you get somewhere around 7 to 8 questions solid year on year from this module alone, which will automatically take you to an assured 93 percentile in the paper. So off the lot, I put percentages on the top of the module now. The reason being that is percentages is not only a standalone topic here, it is also going to serve you a base on every topic that you come across. You need to understand that a percentage idea can be incorporated in any topic, not just arithmetic. It can be number theory, it can be in geometry, it can be in inequalities, it can be anywhere, it can be in probability. So we need to get a grasp about this topic to understand the other topics in a better fashion. And this also lays you that foundation to get comfortable with other topics. When you look at a question with percentages in it, you need to understand how to break down those numbers, how to approach that number. That part is super important, and hence I'm going to put this on the top of the table and then say, without any negotiations, this needs to be on the top of your chart, right? So remember that before you start writing your name on your book, on your notes or whatever it is, tell yourself, write it down that percentages is important. Not just percentages. I put ratios in that category. I put averages in that category. I put linear and quadratic equations in that category. I call this the hidden syllabus. Any topic can have this. So remember, these are all important. There are important modules, but then these are top priority topics. Remember that. Right. Now, let's get to the class. I'm just going to have one quick look at the chart here. So Praja says, why can't I access in the app set? Probably this class might not be available on the app. Moving forward, every other class will be happening in the app. So check it out. I've taken the batch in app, but can't see the class live in app. It says ended because it's happening on YouTube here. So that's probably the reason. It's this first class, since it is free, it's there on YouTube, and maybe that's the reason. I'm not really sure about the technical part of it, and I think that's the reason why this is not available on the app. I'm not sure. Probably that's a reason. Right. So we'll get started with the class. So we are going to have a bunch of ideas that we are going to cover. We're going to talk about percentages, fractions and decimals, percentage changes, successive changes, and then problems. We're going to do some sort of basic problems. Every topic that we do on arithmetic, we're going to do it in 2 classes. One, the first class, we're going to run all theory, a few basic problems to practice the ideas that we have discussed. The second class will have the moderate to cat level questions in it, where we apply every idea that we discussed in the first class, that will be taken forward, that would be tally forward in the second class. Right. Now let's get started. So we're going to start with percentages, changes, successive change and problems. This is going to be the part. But to give you an intro about this, let me ask you this first question. Forget about cat, forget about quant, forget about all the other parts. Let me ask you a question. Do you think percentages is important? Do you think percentages in your life, do you really think it is important? Mukul says yes. Supraja says everyone, I think everyone says yes now. I think there is no debate on that. But obviously the next question, you simply cannot say yes. Now you'll have to tell me, why do you think it is important? What is the fundamental necessity about percentages? What is the basic necessity about percentages? Why do you say it is important? Why do you need it? What is your reason to say that it is important? There has to be a reason, right? And what is that? Everyone says yes. Gives us an assumption of things, okay? Because it acts as a base for exactly. To make decisions, Aditya, make decisions on what? A question that I'll have, obviously. Gives us an assumption of things. I want to really go deep into it. People say to consolidate, right? People say to consolidate. I tell people the fundamental idea behind percentages obviously starts with compare data. Comparison. What do I mean by comparison? Now when I say comparison, obviously the easiest thing to any Indian household comes from your marks. I think that goes without saying. If at all, if you have a sibling, anyone who has a sibling here, and if your sibling happens to be older than you, you are on the receiving end, mate. You obviously are on the receiving end, right? We have been a victim of comparison. If you happen to be the elder sibling, I think you got away with a bunch of stuff. But then if you happen to be the younger sibling, I think that's more traumatic than anything else. I happen to be an younger sibling, so I know the pain. There is always a yardstick that I am measured with. There's a bar. I am measured with that. And that bar is called as my brother. We all have come across that. If you don't have siblings, obviously next is cousins, your neighbors. All of these people automatically become your benchmarks. And my benchmark happened to be when I studied 10th. Obviously, we all have witnessed it. Let me give you one example. Now, imagine this. You score 400. Your score is 400. And then let's say your sibling scores 770. You score 400 and your sibling scores 770. Now, who do you think is trapped at home? Imagine you get 400, you go tell your mom and say, hey mom, I got 400 in my exam. And then she gives you a nice slap and then says, your brother got 770. Obviously, you are trapped, right? How do you get away with it? I can do it. I would easily say, hey, I got 400 out of 500 and this 770 it is out of 1100. If I say this, now we are drawing a comparison. We are telling out of 500 this is 400. Out of 1100 this is 770. But still this doesn't really give me an idea about those numbers. I'm not able to contemplate this number in my head. I'm not able to say which one is better. There's a lot of math that you can do and then get around it. But then what is the simplest thing that you can do? You can tell yourself, okay, since the base is here, one is out of 500, the other one is out of 1100, you really cannot tell the difference here. So the one thing that we can do is bring them both to the same value and then see which one is better. And that same value, I'm going to do it for 100. I'm going to do it for 100. And when you do that, so you cancel it out, this will be 80 for every 100. For every 100, that's 80. When you do the same thing over here, this will become 70. This will be 70 for every 100. And now I have some way to say which one is better. 80 for every 100, 70 for every 100. Instead of saying 770 out of 1100, you can say that's 70 for every 100. Instead of 400 or 500, I can say that's 80 for every 100. Every 100 doesn't really sound nice in my ears. So I say that's 80 percentage, 70 percentage. Every 100, every means per, 100 means percent, per means every. For every, we say kilometer per hour. What does it mean? You are saying for every hour, that's my speed. 60 kilometers per hour means for every hour you cover 60 kilometers. So when you say 80%, you are saying for every 100, that's 80. For every 100, that's 70. That is percentages. Clear? Any doubts? And that is important. Now gradually from comparison, now we live in a world where everything is data based, right? We live in a world where it is data oriented. You cannot process anything in life without quantifying it. Now some good examples that I tell people is, people come and ask me, when it is preparation for an exam, in my head it should always be qualitative. The quality of preparation that you bring in matters. But we still live in a world where it is quantified. Number of questions per day. So we are data driven. So we live in a world where everything is data for us, and automatically when there are big data, obviously there needs to be simplification of that data, and automatically yes, percentages is what comes into the picture. You talk about a country's economy, the population, literacy, whatever it is, percentages play a role, right? So in percentages, we need to understand there are two elements sitting here. There are two elements sitting here. One is called the percentage value. The other one is base value. And both of them are important. What do I mean by base value? When you say, for an example, if I say some 40 percentage of some 80, giving an example. What is 40 percentage of 80? Now I know the value is 40%. Now the question will always be 40% of what? 40% of what? And that is called as your base value. So how do you write 40% of 80? 40 by 100 into 80. 40 by 100 into 80. So the generic form is A percentage of B. It's written as A by 100 into B. Clear? That's a basic thing. You need to understand percentage and base. Both of them are necessary. Folks, we repeat, The first class is a free class that happens on YouTube. The first class of every faculty is a free class that happens on YouTube, and from next week onwards all the classes will happen exclusively on the app. So do not worry that you are not able to open the class in the app, because you won't be able to open it in the app. Once you finish the first 3 classes from each faculty, the first class of every faculty, the moment you finish it, when you do the next class, that will happen in the app, right? Any doubts? So don't worry about it. What have I covered till now? We just covered some basic Ashwini. Quickly go backtrack this, the last 10-20 minutes, whatever it is, 15 minutes, will be able to get it. Not a problem, it's okay, you can still catch up. Now understand this, a quick trivia. Both of them matter. As I told you, both of them matter. Since we have come this far, let me give you one nice important thing. There goes a saying in English. I don't know if you have heard this. I'm pretty sure most of you have come across this. There's a nice saying in English that says, numbers don't lie. Have you come across this? Have you come across this saying, numbers don't lie? Have you heard this phrase? Numbers don't lie. Nice line. Yes, very often, right? I tell people, Cardi B said so. I tell people numbers do lie. Numbers do definitely, they bloody lie. Only if you know how well to use them. Only if you know how well to use them. To give you an example, let's say I want to pick a name. There's Prashant Kumar here. Hey Prashant, how are you? With your permission, can I take you for an example in the class? Hey Prashant, I would like to give you an example. Can I take your name with your permission? Yes, sure. Okay. Yeah, just for the record, even if you had said no, I would have taken your name, because that quickly caught my eye. Right. So let's say this. Just kidding, man. Just say this. I'm going to conduct a poll in this class right now. I'm going to put a poll over here, and then I'm going to say, the question goes this way. Is Prashant the most handsome boy in the class? Prashant, I know there's a rule that says never assume the gender with the name, but Prashant Kumar in India happens to be a boy's name, so I'm going to take you to be a man. Right? Folks, the class will happen on YouTube. The next class also will happen on the next 2 classes for the faculty. The first class of every faculty will happen on YouTube. That's a free batch. That's a free class. After that, the batches will happen on the app very specifically. It's not an issue. It's not an issue. Oh, everyone is searching there and they are not aware of that's happening on YouTube. I think Prashant is blushing. Right. So the question is, let's get back. If I say, is Prashant the most handsome guy in the class? And I say there's a poll, I want you guys to come and vote. Right. Now, imagine this. The entire poll is done. The entire poll is done. I open the ballot box and then I look into the votes. I count them all. I did a counting, and then I realized 100% of the people who had voted had said yes. 100% of the people who voted said yes in this class. Now tell me, can we declare that he is the most handsome person in the class? Can we say that? 100%. The record says all the votes that came in, that's 100% of the people said yes. Obviously, yes, because everyone who voted said yes. So that should be a fact, right? Here comes the data that I didn't give you. The number of people who had voted was 1, and that was Prashant for himself. Now tell me, the number of people who had voted was 1 and Prashant had voted for himself. Only one person voted and that one person voted for himself. That's 100%. Numbers do lie. We live in India. You see all those number games everywhere. You see number games in sports. You see number games in politics. You see number games everywhere. They provide you the data that they want to see. They will never provide you the data that you shouldn't be seeing. But be cautious. Every time you get a number, a data, there is always this question that you need to ask, is that the entire data that I need to know? Always look for that. That's important, right? So with that said, now let's jump into this and I'm going to do a quick rapid fire question, rapid fire round. I'm going to show you a set of questions, just like placement stats. Yes, placement stats is a brilliant example. Thank you. Watch it 24/7. Brilliant example of this obviously is placement stats. Now every time you go to especially an engineering college, I happen to be an engineer. So every time you go to an engineering college for admissions, the college will boast saying, we have 100% placement records. Only when you jump into the college, you will get to know that that will be 100% of the all clear students, or there will be some criteria. In that it will be 100%. Out of some 700 students, there are placed some 200 students and they would claim it to be 100%. Happens everywhere, not just in one college. It happens across the country. And nothing new to us, right? Just give me 1 second. Just give me 1 second. Just give me 1 second. Hello, hello, check. Check. Are we back? Hey folks, apparently there has been a notification sent. I understand you are in the first class of it and you will be struggling to understand the flow, which normally happens. When this notification has been sent, look into it every now and then. Starting from next week, or probably my next class will happen on Friday, Thursday. Today is Monday. My next class will happen on Thursday, and that class will happen on the app. This is the first class that's happening free on YouTube. Moving on, every second class of the faculty will be happening on the app, right? So I understand some of you are frustrated that you had to wait there for a long time. I get it. We get that. We have to get used to it. There was notification sent. Just be a little attentive to that. We are done, right? So now quickly jumping, I want you to solve these 4 questions and drop your answers in one message. All 4 answers in one message. Don't drop one after the other. All 4 answers in one message. I will give you access to my Telegram group and the MBA Wallah English channel's Telegram group. I'll show you the QR codes at the end of the class. Have a look at it, scan that, it will take you to the group. Arya, I would love to recall all the ideas, but then we just did some like 20 minutes of it, 15 minutes of it. That would take a lot of time off, but I can assure you that you really did not miss anything. We are barely begun, so don't worry about it. Anyone who has joined late, anyone who had to wait over there and come back here, who did not be with us for the first 15-20 minutes, do not worry, you haven't missed out on anything really much. You will cover it up here. You have barely begun, so don't worry. I was just having some random talk, giving you an elaborated example, so don't worry about it. Right, great. I see a lot of answers popping in now. Now, I have a question for you. Can I give you 4 more questions? Can you solve those 4 questions now? Yes? Shall we do that? If you have figured out the answer, great. Can I give you another 4 questions? Can you solve them? Yes. But before that, how long did that take for you to solve these 4 questions? What amount of time did it take for you to solve these 4 questions? Five seconds, yes. Under a minute, 20 seconds, 10 seconds, yes. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to give you 3 minutes to solve the next 4 questions. This took what, 20, 25, 30 seconds, right? I'm going to give you 3 minutes to solve the next 4 questions. And after 3 minutes, we'll discuss. And for this 3 minutes, do not shoot your answers. If you have solved for 3 minutes, wait. After I come back and ask you for questions, answer then, but do not post your answers for the next 4 questions in the chat. Okay? There goes your next 4 questions. Your 3 minutes starts now. No answers on the comment box until I ask for it. And yes, in the meanwhile, I think we didn't start off on a good note without an M. I say anything that you do without an introduction is on a bad note. So I think we didn't start on a good note on that occasion. For the people who are seeing me for the first time here, the name's Bhaskar. 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 That's how you spell my name. I happen to be an engineer and then I did my MBA. I've been in this industry for the last 11 years. I've been into placement industry. I've been teaching students ever since I completed my graduation. I have a solid 11 years backing on this industry now. So you will be seeing me for like most of the classes on quant. I'll be exclusively handling quant here. I'll see almost for every class except for a couple of classes, but then most of the modules I'll take care of it. What else do I have to tell about myself? Yes. So I know this question will come out at some point in time. Some of you might have figured it out. Some of you might not have. I happen to be a South Indian, so you might probably pick it up from my accent. I'm a Chennai from the state called Tamil Nadu. So I'm an out and out Chennai. My mother tongue is Tamil. I speak 2 languages fluently to a certain extent. Tamil and then English. My Hindi is bad. My Hindi is pretty bad, okay? My Hindi is so bad, it's as bad as RCB. You might see me winning the trophy a couple of times. You might see me speaking good Hindi on a couple of occasions. But most of the times, I've been bad at it. I'm trying to recover. I'm trying to pick it up. Now I deal with most of the people who speak Hindi. I'm trying to learn the language and speak better. Eventually, I'll get better. So, don't expect me to speak Hindi. You will run out of the class. Any amount of Hindi that you know, you will forget it. Right? I understand a few other languages. I've traveled across the country, so I understand Malayalam to a fair extent. I understand Telugu to a certain extent. I can catch up with your doubts in Hindi. If you post something in Hindi, I'll probably understand it. I might probably pick it up from there. But then, barely. I'll get away with it. There are other languages that I contextually understand, not fluently. Can you solve these even after everyone is answering? Yes, done, 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 done. Right. So, now comes 3 minutes is done. If you add a timer, let me ask you this question. How many of you have not solved all 4 of them? The question is, how many of you have not solved all 4 of them? I don't want answers. No, I didn't ask for answers. Folks, you are shooting the answers. Remember, I didn't ask for answers. Don't post the answers. Do not post the answers. Don't. Stop it here. How many of you did not get all 4? Next question. How many of you were able to solve 4 questions because you used a calculator? And I think these 2 categories happens to be the larger count here, right? But do you realize, for all those people who are not able to get these 4 in the bag, do you realize you were able to solve these 4? And it didn't take you much time. It took you less than 20-30 seconds. 30 to 20 seconds is what you took, and you were able to get it. But then the moment I jump to some other numbers, you're worried. You're like, okay, I am out. This is not my game. I'm probably quitting or probably using calculator. Now, let's revisit this 4 questions. The moment I showed these 4 questions, you enthusiastically shot all the answers like in a few seconds. Here comes my question. Why was these 4 questions easy? Why was these 4 difficult? Can someone tell me that? Why was these 4 questions easy and why were these difficult? That's a question that I have in mind. People say there's decimal. No, it's not about the decimal, folks. It's not about the decimal. It has got nothing to do. You go back here. If I look at this question, the moment I show you 50% of 30, yes, we learned a percentage of b is written as 50 by 100 into 30. That's how you write it. But did you really write this to solve this question? If you ask this question in your head, your mind will say, no, I did not do that. Your mind will say, I didn't even pick my pen to solve this question. But then your answer was still there at the in the tip of your tongue. And how did you do that? The moment you saw that question, the moment you saw 50% of a number, your mind promptly said, that's half the number. Am I right? Your mind immediately said this. Hey, that's half of this number. And now, that's how you are able to say half of 30 is 15. Right? Half of 30 is 15. I'm writing this, but I know you did not write that. I know for a fact you did not write it. You simply looked at 25% and then you said 25% of a number is a fourth of a number. It's a quarter of a number. A quarter of 40 is 10. That's what you thought. Tell me if I am wrong. Tell me if I am wrong. You look at 10% of 73, your mind immediately says that's 1/10 of a number, and then you say that's 7.3. Whereas when you look at 1% of a number, your mind immediately looked into as 100th of a number, which is 4.3. Yes. Now this brings me to the realization that, okay, maybe looking at it as percentage was a bad move. Maybe looking at it as a by 100 into B format is where was our downfall was. And obviously you would have brought that the same here. You would have written this as 66.66% of the 36 would have been 66.66 divided by 100 into 36. That's what you would have done. Why did you do that? Because you didn't know how to rewrite that as a fraction. Maybe, just maybe, if we were able to write all of these as fractions, this would have been easy, right? This would have been easy, maybe. So let's see if we can rewrite a percentage as a fraction and see how it works well for us. Now the first question that I will ask is, how do you know 1 by 2 is 50%? Let me write it here. How do we know 1 by 2 is 50%? It's effectively nothing but 50 by 100 simplified to give you 1 by 2. Or I can say 100 by 2 is equal to 50%. Correct? Or when I say 1 by 2, that is 50%. Isn't it? So 1 by 2 is nothing but 100 by 2. The moment I can look at it in that format, it resolves a lot of problems that I have. Isn't it? On that ground, the notes will be available on the app. Yes, the notes will be available on the app. So do not worry about that. Now, if 1 by 2 is 50%, then what is 1 by 3? If 1 by 2 is 50%, what is 1 by 3? What would be 1 by 3? What would be the value for 1 by 3 then? Exactly, 33.33%. What is 1 by 4? We know that is 25%. What is 1 by 5? What is 1 by 5? Would be 20%. Simply, when I say 1 by 5, that will be 100 by 2. 100 by 5, which will be 20%. What is 1 by 6? It's nothing but half of 1/3 is 1/6, right? You can either divide 100 by 6 or half of 1/3 is 1/6, which will give me 16.66666, or I can write it as 16.67%. 1 by 7, I'll tell you how to remember 1 by 7. 1 by 8. Will the syllabus be covered in time? Definitely, definitely. We won't skip anything. We'll finish it in time. So don't worry about that. Will DPP be available on app? Yes. After the class, you will have the DPPs available. So what is 1 by 8? Half of 1/4 is 1 by 8, which is 12.5%. 1 by 9. What is 1 by 9? 1/3 of 1/3 is 1 by 9. 1/3, which will take it to 11.11. What is 1 by 10? 10%. 1/11. I tell people 1/11, there's a pattern. 1 by 9 is 11.11%. 1 by 11 is called as 09.09%. 09.090909 will be 1 by 11. 1 by 12, again half of 1/6 is 1 by 12, which will bring it to 8.33%. Right. So what is 1 by 7? I give people a nice way to remember 1 by 7. You can divide 100 by 7 and then take the value, but there's a much simpler way to remember 1 by 7. What is twice 7? Double of 7 is 1 by 14. Double of 7 is 14. Point. What is double of 14? It's 28. What is double of 28? 56 plus 1 is 57. That is 1 by 7. 14.2857. Computing asking Kattapane Babble. Folks, come up with some new names, man. I've gotten so bored about with all these names. Come on, come on. Be creative. You all are preparing for an MBA exam, your competitive exam. The competition has to be high. Don't come up with the same old names, man. Come on, I'm eagerly looking forward for new names. I've looked into all these names all my life. Come on. I want you to be more creative. Right? So this is exactly what I've written over here. Beautifully written in a descriptive format, typed format. Now maybe using this, you can solve this. Right? Shivang is saying that could be more dark. Anything that you feel like cannot be said in public, don't bring up it. Okay? I like Kratos, man. Kratos has been my favorite character. I've been a big fan of God of War. I think I can tell you this. I can definitely tell you this. I've been playing God of War way before you even got into your middle school. I played all 7 installments of the game, and you are wondering what those 7 are. I haven't played a couple of installments. I've played 7 installments of the game. I'm a big fan of Kratos. I'm a big fan of Greek mythology. So we'll have a talk about Kratos someday. Someday we'll do that. Right. Santa Claus is boring. Do I look that white? I still have some gray left in me. Come on. Do we need to remember this? Absolutely. This is non-negotiable. How can you miss this? I've spent like 15 minutes on this now. Non-negotiable. No way. No way. You're not skipping this. Yes, the recorded class will be available on the app. Yes, it will be available on the app. Don't worry. 1 by 13, 1 by 14, people barely get those values. You don't really have to remember that. In case you get something like that, do the manual division. You don't really have to remember it as a value. Most of the times you get 1 by 13, you don't get some percentage that is written as 1 by 13. You will automatically straight away get 1 by 13, so do not worry about it. You need to understand that the numbers that you get in the section are manipulated. What do I mean by manipulated? Most times than often, you get those values where you simplify it, you get a nice answer. But I'm not assuring you that. You can also get decimal values. I'm not giving you a word that happens, but pretty often, most of the times, that's how you get your numbers. So get used to it. Right? Now 66.66% of 36. Now, if only I can write 66.66 in some fractional way, I think that will take our job to an easier extent, right? What value can I take here, put it over here, and then call it 66.66%. 1/3 is 33.33. 2 times this value is 66.66. I can simply write it as 2/3. 2 by 3 into 36. Now the job becomes easy, right? So divide this. This is 12 times, so this is 24. Right? That's all. As simple as it can go. Right? Kunik is saying 6 by 9 is also right. What is 6 by 9? Simplify it, you get 66.6 again. 2 by 3 only. You can do that. Now look at this. 45.45% of a number. Once again, look at the table and see if there is some value that we can rewrite as 45.45. Yes, 1 by 11 is 9.09. Multiply this by 5, you'll get 45.45. So this is nothing but 5/11 of a number into 44. So simplify this 4 times, that's 20. Done. Clear? Aryaman is saying 1 by 7. Tell once again. What is so tricky about it? 7 into 2, 14. Remember it. Pull out a calculator, do the math, keep it. That's one way. Or I'm simply saying twice 7 is 14. 2 times 14 is 28. 2 times 28 is 56. Plus 1. 57. That's all. Right? Now do you find this easy? Maybe. If only every time we can rewrite a fraction into, a percentage into a fraction or a decimal into a fraction, a job gets easy. Right? Isn't it? That's the key. Lekha is asking, can we take 1 by 9? How can you take 1 by 9, Lekha? 4 times of 1/9 will be 44.44. But here it is 45.45. We can take it. They are close. Maybe that would work. But if I have a better way to do it, why go for some other numbers? That's the key. I'll come there. I know Rishikesh, all you folks have a bunch of questions in your head. Allow me to finish this and I'll attend to your question. I know these questions. What questions you will come up with? Look at the next one. 5.555. Look at the table here. And then see if there is any number that I can write as 5.555. Can we take 1 by 9 for third? Brilliant. Bharatwaj says 5 by 9. Folks, 5 by 9 is 55.55. 19 is 11.11. 5 by 9 is 55.55. You can take 55 by 55. Or now you will come up with, sir, let's take 5 by 90. Your minds now will say, let's take 5 by 90. 5 by 90 is good. 55.55 divided by 10 is 5.555. Yes, correct. But again, you have to divide by 18 now. Now you wanted to come up to a simpler way and you ended up with dividing a number by 18. It's not that difficult, obviously. But then challenge. There's some challenge lying here. This is where you need to have multiple ways of solving a question. Now, imagine this. My go-to sport is cricket. Like all my analogies, unfortunately, I play two sports. One is basketball, the other one is cricket. These are the two sports that I play. So my obvious example will always be from a cricketing perspective. Imagine this. Do you really think do you really think a batsman who knows only to play in the leg side can survive? Think about a batsman who can only play all the shots, any shot on the leg side. He will be a one-trick pony. Never be one-trick pony here. You need to have multiple techniques, multiple levels, multiple understandings. You need to be on the top of your game. So this is where I'm going to bring you one other idea. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at 5.555 and then I'm going to split it. Now if I give you a number asking you, let's say 247, expand to 247, what will you do? We'll say that's 200 plus 40 plus 7. That's how you write. That's how you would have written it. Yes. Now can you expand 5.555 percentage? How will you split 5.555? That would become 5 percentage plus 0.5 percentage plus 0.05 percentage plus 0.005 percentage. Right? 5 plus 0.5 plus 0.05 plus 0.005. Is it easy? Yes. Now I have my benchmark values. Any given number, it is always easy to find 100% of a number. What is 100% of the number? The number itself. The number itself is 100%. It's easy to find 50% of a number. Half the number. What is so difficult about it? 50% of number is half the number, right? It's easy to find 10% of a number. Simply divide the number by 10. That's 10%, right? It's easy to find 5% of a number. How do I find 5%? Divide the number by 10, divided by 2. That's 5%. Or divide the number by 2, then divide it by 10. Whichever way. Simply dividing it by 20. That's all. And finally, finding 1% of a number. Divide the number by 100. All these values, with this, I can go to any number. For instance, if the question says, what is 2% of a number? I will simply say 1% of the number into 2. In my head, I'll simply say, find 1% of the number. If the question says 2% of 47, I'm not worried. What is 1% of 47? 0.47 divided by 100. 2% will be twice the number, 9.4. Right, that's all. Sorry, 0.94. Clear? 0.47 into 2 will be 0.94. Simple. Nothing tricky, nothing. We are not doing any tricky, not doing magic here. I'm simplifying numbers to our convenience. That's why math itself was first introduced, to make our job easy. Unfortunately, our teachers made it difficult for us. If anyone has a problem with mathematics here, I blame your teachers for it, specifically your school teachers. They made life hard for us. They made us write math exams most of the times. They didn't tell us how to understand it. We ran behind mathematics simply for the marks, not for the understanding part. It's not your fault. None of it is your fault. So my job is to tell you that math is fun, math is easy. If math is not easy, at least I'll go to the extent of saying math is doable. Math, you don't have to treat math like your ex-girlfriend or boyfriend. I know that's the kind of aversion that we have towards maths. Some of us have an indifference towards maths. Most of you are ignorant, have an ignorance, but most of you are indifferent. You simply don't care. For most of you, math is like your ex-girlfriend or your ex-boyfriend. You simply don't want to meet them again. Right? It happens, but then now you are in a CAT class. Now you are preparing for CAT, for competitive exams, MBA exams, and obviously quant plays a major role here. You need to get used to it. You need to work together. Now imagine you and your ex-girlfriend, boyfriend, who are your partner, ex-partner, you happen to work in the same team, in the same office. You need that money. You need that salary. You need to work together, work in tandem. But the least that I can do for you is at least bring out that hatred. You don't have to be in touch with them, in touch with math for the rest of your life. But I'm telling you, at least I'll try to take out that hatred that you have. That's the least that I can do. Arya Jain is saying, but I love my ex. Arya, I'll pray for you. I'll pray for you. It's your kryptonite. Everyone's kryptonite, man. Come on. Right? So in this case, this is easy. 5% of 60. What is 10% of 60? That's 3. Right. 10% of 60 is 30. Sorry. Yeah, 6. 10% of 60 is 6. Then what is 5%? That's 3. Right? 10% is 6, 5% is 3. Then what is 0.5%? Folks, come back to the class. I think the topic is going elsewhere. I think we needed that break. We took that. We have to be back on track. Come back. So 0.5% would become 0.3. 0.05% will become 0.03. 0.005% will become 0.003, which will be 3.333, and that's our answer. Clear? Any doubts? Are we good here? Now comes 62% of 150. Now, what is 62% of 150? How will you find 62% of 150? Chetna, 10% of 60 is 6. For anyone who says that you did not understand, I'll repeat it again. 10% of 60 is 6. Simply divided by 10. Then what is 5%? Half of that, right? 10% of number to 5% of a number is half of that number, isn't it? So what is 10% of 60? Let's say that's 6. 1/10 into 60, that is 6. But I'm asking 5%. Technically 5% is 1/20th into 60. But I don't want to write it as a fraction. So what I'm doing is, this is 10%. Then 5% will be half of this, right? 5% will be half of it, right? What is 5% of 60 then? Half of 6, which is 3. So I took 5% as 3. So 0.5% will be 0.3. Divided by another 10, that's all. Divided by another 10, you get 0.003. Divided by one more time, you will get 0.0003. Add them, you'll get 3.333, and that's our answer. Clear? Anyone who asked me to repeat this, are we good here? Yes. Now obviously, you can directly calculate. See, I am not telling you you cannot do this. I am telling you there are ways. The moment you look at a number, you break it down and you do it, which takes bare minimum time. In due course of time, we'll start understanding it. It is not time consuming, Ashwin. The moment you start doing some numbers, when you look at the questions, you will come to realize that you can do numbers, you can do calculations without a calculator. If I amp up these numbers a little, if I add a couple of layers to the question, your mind has to adjust yourself to solving questions in some lesser time. I'm giving you that bridge, that small gap of few seconds that you save will help you solve other questions. Pretty clear? Now let's solve this question. Now when you look at 62% of 150, calculator is allowed. You do have a calculator in the exam, but the calculator in the exam, how do I present this example to you? The calculator present in the exam is the equivalent of having a PT period after a max period in your timetable. It simply doesn't serve a purpose. Eventually that is taken by a teacher. What do I mean by that is that sometimes your calculator, you don't type it down like what the calculators that you have, it's not that. You need to click with your cursor, with your mouse. Super annoying. Super annoying. Right? I'm married. I've been married for the last 4-5 years. I have a 3-year-old child. I lead a happy married life, touch wood. But dealing with the calculator in my language is the equivalent of having an argument with my wife when she is in a bad mood. I wouldn't want to mess with it. She has had bad days. She goes to our clinic and she comes back. She's a doctor. She has a bad patient or whatever it is. She's tired. I wouldn't want to mess with her. I am putting that same analogy to a calculator. You never know how it will work. You will never know. Sometimes physical calculators are not allowed. Physical calculators are not allowed. So remember that. You need to work on the display calculator on the monitor. Man, it sucks. It sucks. It's so bad sometimes. There have been history where the calculator has gone out of working. I don't want to scare you. I don't want to scare the shit out of you, but then, hey, that happens. I'm giving you a heads up. That's why we have all these examples. Life with Naha says, ma'am will mess with you. Oh, she knows it. I will tell her I don't want to deal with her. When she is angry, I'll tell her I'm stepping aside for some time. She does the same with me. When I am in a bad mood, she says, I don't want to talk to you now. Relax and come back. Oh, I think that's a healthy thing to do, man. You don't mess with your partner, right? So come back. So 62% of 150, I saw that most of folks, don't worry about that. 62% of 150, I saw most of you is going to be saying, sir, I can do that as 50 plus 10 plus 2 percentage. Someone even said, can we do 62.5 percentage, 5/8, brilliant idea. 1/8 is 12.5. So 5/8 is going to be 62.5. So pretty much hit the mark here. I'm happy. Great. Right. I chose this question to give you a disclaimer. There is a saying in mathematics. There is a saying that we all teachers follow. Have you heard of this phrase again in Indian law? Have you heard of this topic? This is something that you can see this in India. There is something we call that is ethically correct, legally wrong, or legally correct, ethically wrong. There is ethical correctness, legal correctness, and moral correctness. Some people say this is legally correct, morally wrong. Some people say this is morally correct, legally wrong. We have come across this, right? Example, to euthanize someone who has been bedridden for 10, 12, 15 years, someone who is in a vegetative state, the law doesn't allow you to euthanize this person. They have to die a natural death. You cannot euthanize them. Mercy killing. Euthanize is mercy killing. That's legally wrong. But ethically and morally, that's the right thing, right? Someone who has not woken up in 18 years, someone who has been bedridden for decades, needs to be given that. I think the first euthanasia happened recently, like to a child recently. For decades that kid was there, and then they euthanized this kid. That's ethically right, legally wrong. And then there's something come that calls legally right and ethically incorrect. Morally, ethically incorrect. Like some people say non-vegetarian is morally incorrect. You kill animals. I don't want to get into the debate deep. But then some people say that's legally correct, morally wrong. So there are two parts of anything. It also happens in mathematics. Some things that you do, some things that we say, some things that we do feels like it is correct. In reality, it is not. Sometimes you have gotten used to this idea. We say something. For example, if I write a value, I'll take this slide here. 2x minus 5 is equal to 3. If I ask you to solve for this equation, if I put you this equation, if I ask you to solve for this, what will your step be? You will say, take this minus 5 to the other end. Right? I am pretty sure all your teachers would have taught you that. Even I have gotten used to say this. Take this 5 to the other end, minus 5 will become plus 5. Right? But do you know that maths doesn't allow you to do that? The right way of doing this would be, adding 5 to both equations. So this gets cancelled. 2x is equal to 8. And then the next step is technically called divide both the equations by 2. 2 gets cancelled. X is equal to 4. This is the right way to say, to do. That's how you are supposed to say, that's how you are supposed to do. But then our minds have gotten so used to the fact that you say 2x minus 5 is equal to 3. Minus 5 over there becomes plus 5. 2x is equal to 8. Take this 2 over here, divided by 2, x is equal to 4. Yes? Been lied all your life? Yes. Yes. There are a few more things down the class. I'll tell you something, a lot of things that they taught you is wrong. A lot of things that we were taught in our childhood was wrong. Like even technically wrong. I have a lot of proof for it. We'll talk about that down the line. So why am I talking about this? So something that I do here, it is essentially the same thing. It is essentially the same thing. Correct, Prashant? I do not deny you that. That's why even I have gotten used to say that take this minus 5 over there, it will become plus 5. Even my head has been messed up so badly, I don't say add 5 on both sides. But I'll tell you where this will become a problem. we have a topic called inequalities. My mind, when I say minus 5 goes over there becomes plus 5, my mind knows for a fact that I am adding 5 on both sides. But when you do quadratic equations, inequalities, when you jump into algebra, you will understand why saying in that format will become wrong. I won't say it is wrong. I'll tell you it will become wrong because your mind is not processing the actual step, and that will lead you to a fall. I'll show you why when we do those classes. Now, if you say this, I'm telling you there's no crime in it, but I'm telling you, understand what's happening. Now, math is a lot more about why rather than what. Ask the question how, ask the question why. Now, why didn't you think, how can minus 5 go over that side become plus 5? What is the reason? Does it make sense to you? Anyone? No. But when I say add 5 on both sides, that makes sense to us, right? That definitely makes sense to us, isn't it? That's the key point. Sometimes you can do that jugad. I'm not saying you can't, and I'm telling you no why. That's all. Right? Any doubts? How the teachers? Come on, man. Let's not blame them. So let's get to this. Why am I talking about all these things? Two reasons. One, down the line you will have to know this. Two, what I am going to do to this question is mathematically incorrect to say it, but logically correct. I'm placing this disclaimer up front. What I am going to do here is logically incorrect, but mathematically it is not wrong. By the law of math, it won't be wrong, but by the law of logic, it is incorrect. I'll tell you what. Now, if I write, let's go here, A percentage of B, B percentage of A. Now, quickly think, are they equal? A percentage of B, B percentage of A, are they equal? Are they? Some people say no, some people say yes, most people say no. Now let's check it out. How do you write A percentage of B? A by 100 into B, which is AB by 100. B percentage of A is B by 100 into A, which is BA by 100. Let me shoot this question again. Are they equal? A into B by 100, B into B by 100, are they equal? For all those people who say no, sorry to break your heart, they are equal. A into B is equal to B into A, man. Come on. It's equal. Now, if that's the case, when I come over here, 62 percentage of 150, can I think about this as 150 percentage of 62? How will you write 150 percentage now? How do you write 150 percentage? Can I think about this as 100 percentage plus 50 percentage of 62? So, rather than splitting 62 percentage, it is easy for me to split 150 percentage, right? What is 100 percentage of 62? 62. 50 percentage of 62? 31. 93 it is. Sayangati. It's easier to do. See, there is nothing called the right way or the wrong way, the easier way or the difficult way. What you find to be difficult probably might be easy for a bunch of people. What you find it the right way, some might say it's wrong. End of the day, your conceptual strength, your logical foundation, as long as they are good, any method, any technique is fair and square. Is fair and square. I am not going to be this teacher. I am pretty sure we all have learnt this in our school out of experience. If you don't follow the method that your school teacher taught you in the exam, you don't get marks. If you happen to go to a maths tuition, the maths teacher, the tuition teacher teaches you a technique, you follow that in the exam, which is different from your school maths teacher teaching you a technique, and if the teacher finds it out, she will say, you did not use my method, no marks for it. Yes. Deal with any way that you are comfortable with. Kajal is saying both ways feel hard to me. Kajal, you are just in the beginning step. You have just put your leg on the pedal and you are saying, I am finding it difficult to cycle. Come on. You just sat on the cycle. You sit on the cycle and you cannot say it's difficult to cycle. You need to pedal. You need to need a hand. I will give you that hand. You have that hand for the rest of the time until your exam. Feel free to ask questions. But do not give up, man. Come on. On the very first day of the class, you come and tell me this is difficult. I wouldn't expect you to remember it. I wouldn't expect you to learn this in the very first go. Right? Any doubts? Any questions here? Revisit this after the class gets over. Check out this video again in one stretch to understand that. If there is 250 of 62, then do the exact way. Yes, exactly. I'll do the same thing. 200% of 62, 200% of 63 is 62 is 124. 50% is 31. 124 plus 31 is going to be 155 for me. That's all. Nothing fancy here. Now comes the next idea, percentage change. I like this idea called percentage change. We all have seen when some value changes, we all see this in stock markets, in trades, in mutual investments, in interests, in banks, in prices, in supply and demand, in economics, everywhere. Change in something automatically comes in change in percentage. When a value changes, that's signified by some percentage, right? And just for the record, if you know, there are formulas to say that, which is percentage increase is given as final minus initial by initial into 100. Percentage decrease is called as initial minus final by initial into 100. I hate formulas, so I'm going to break it to you in a much simpler fashion and style. I hate formulas. Let me tell you, we all are going to be on the same boat because I am someone who hates formulas. I hate them to the core. So let's do this in a different way that I have. I'll give you an example. Let's say there is the cost of a pen, let's say, was 50 rupees. The cost of the pen. Hey Anjali, should we watch this class? I think Anjali, you don't have to do it. This is the same class that you did, but you want to revisit and practice this? Be my guest, sit here and attend the class. Absolutely nothing wrong if you do it. Is that necessary? If you have understood the percentage class already, not necessary. Otherwise you can. Right. Now coming back, the price of a pen was 50 rupees. And then next month it jumped to 70 rupees. Right? From 50 rupees it has gone to 70 rupees. What is a percentage change? Ask two questions. Just ask two questions to the question that I have shot. What is the change? You see there's a change happening, right? What is the change? That's the first question that you'll have in your head. The first question is, what is the change? The change has happened from 50 to 70, which is 20. Right? From 50 to 70, the change is 20. Second question, from where did the change happen? From where did the change happen? The change happened from 50, right? So divided by 50 into 100. That's all. Simple. Simple. What is 20 by 50? Simplify this. This is 2 by 5. I'm not even doing the math. 2 by 5. 1 by 5 is 20%. 2 by 5 will be 40%. I can clearly see there's an increase. So 40% increase. Will our classes be going to be on YouTube or in, except for this class for quant, the first class alone will happen on the YouTube live, rest all will happen on the app. Clear? That's all. What is the change? From where is the change? Ask 2 questions, you have your answer. If I say the value has changed from let's say 30, it has gone to 21. The price was 30, it has gone to 21. What is the change? Percentage change. Look at the difference. What is the difference here? From 30 it has gone to 21, which is 9. From where did the change happen? From 30. So 9 by 30 into 100. Simplify this. This is 3. This is 10. 3/10, 1/10 is 10%. 3/10 will be 30%. That's all. Break formulas. Do not remember them. Except, sadly, unfortunately, except for one topic alone, I will give you a bunch of formulas. Rest of the times, I hate using them. So, I will teach you how to do them without formulas. But I will tell you the formula. I will do the conventional method as well. I am not saying I will never do it. I will give you that method and there will always be my method. I am not saying, of course, I can probably come and brag. There will be the conventional method and then the Bhaskar method. Obviously, I will tell you how I do it. We'll have a look at it every now and then. Right? Any doubts? Done. Now, another idea that I want to talk about percentage change. I'm going to give you this slide that I'm going to do. Is super important. One of my favorite slides that I do is this. What do I mean by that? Now imagine this class, let's say there are 200, but I'm going to say there are 100 students in this class. There are 100 students in this class, okay? Now what happens is, the count increases from 100 to 160. We have a Telegram group, Vihan. I'll show you the QR codes for the group for you to scan. We'll pass it on, you can join it. From 100, the count has gone to 160. Okay. What is the percentage change? How will you call the percentage change? What is the percentage change in this now? You will say from 100 to 160, there's 60 increasing from 100. You will call this what? 60%, right? Now, it's a 60% increase. Now, it comes back to 100. It is going to come back to 100 now. What is the percentage decrease? It has come back to 60. It has come back to 100. What do you think is a percentage decrease? I know you all have a number in your head. Yes. And that number has come. Everyone says 60. And imagine this. 10% of 60. 160 is 16. 60% will be 96. 60% of 160 will become 96. Remove 96, you will go back to 54. Is that 60%? No. So go to this idea, go back, revisit the property that we saw. Here, what do you call it? That is 60 by 100, right? Why is it 60 by 100? The change is 60 from 100. But from here to here, the change is still 60, but from 160. The base has changed. The base has changed. Clear? Now, can we write this as, can I look at this and say, hey, this I can write it as 60 by 100 plus 60. 60 by 100 plus 60. Can I write it this way? I'll give you one other example. Let's do this. There is a value called 20. There's a value called 20. It has gone to 30 from here. You call this what? 10 by 20 increase, right? We'll call this 10 by 20 increase. But when you go back, the change is still 20, but from 30. Can I write this as 10 by 20 plus 10? Can I call this 10 by 20 plus n? In a basic idea, can I say if there is a value called n, it has increased, it has gone to n plus a. Some value a has increased. Here the value is 10, here the value is 60. Here the value changes a. So how do you call this? The change is a by n increase. When you come back, the change is still a, but from n plus a decrease. And that is one of the most strongest properties. That's a derivation that I have written over here. This is the most powerful tool that I follow in a lot of topics. Every time I see inverse proportionality jump in, this is an idea that I use. And the property says whenever there is a by n increase, there will always be a by n plus a decrease to compensate it. Clear? That's exactly what we have done over here. There's an a by n increase. There's an a by n plus a decrease. Clear? Any doubts? Any questions? Works every time, anytime. Check this out. If I say from 20 it has gone to 25, it is 5 by 20, which I can write it as 1 by 4 increase. Or call it 5 by 20 itself, that's not a problem. When you come back, that's 5 by 25, which I can write it as 1 by 5. A 1 by n increase, 1 by 4 increase gave me a 1 by n plus 1 decrease. 1 by 4, 1 by 5. Any doubts? Need examples? I'll show you examples. Application, all these. We are doing one huge round of theory and we'll be applying all those theoretical ideas and questions and you'll start to understand it. Okay. So what's the application? Anywhere you see inverse proportionality, any question, more people, lesser days. You can use that there. More the number of people, lesser the number of days is an inverse proportionality. You can use this property there. Speed increases, time decreases. Inverse proportionality, follow it. Anywhere, any question that comes up with the concept of inverse proportionality, this pops up. Clear? Any doubts? There's one other theory part. This is not even a theory. In fact, if you want, you can even skip this. But sometimes it is always nice to have a nice layer to go around it. Am I making it complex? Eternal Pilot says that I'm making it complex. Okay. You want me to give an example to this? Fine, we'll do an example for this case. Imagine this. If I say there are 10 people working on a job, they will take 20 days. 10 men, 20 days. If there are 20 men, how many days? If there are 20 men, how many days? This number is easy for you to pick up, right? Everyone will say 10. Everyone will automatically say 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. But how do I solve this? How do I solve with this idea? You can use inverse proportionality to solve this, but how do I solve this? Check this out here. What is the increase here? It is an increase of 10 from 10. So can I call it a 1 by 1 increase? Can I say that's a 1 by 1 increase? So what will happen over here? A 1 by 1 increase would result in a 1 by 2 decrease. What is half of 20? You have to decrease this by half. What is the half of 20? 10 decreases. So this is 10. That's all. Simple idea. 1 by 1 increase, a by n increase, a by n plus a decrease. Inverse proportionality. The moment you see inverse proportionality, this pops in. Clear? Any doubts? Take another example. I'll do another question. If there are 25 people, who can complete the work in 30 days. If there are 25 people, or let's say there are 20 people, who can do the work in 28 days. 28, let's not take 28. You can get this with 28. I don't want to deal with decimals. 35 days. If I have 25 people, how many days will they take? I have 20 people working on a job and they can do the job in 35 days. If there are 25 people, how many days will it take? Simple again. Look at the change. What is the change here? The change is from 20 it has gone to 25, which is 5 increase from 20, which is 1 by 4 increase. If there is a 1/4 increase, what should be the decrease? It should be 1/5 decrease. What is 1/5 of 35? 7. So reduce 7 from here, you will get 28. That is your answer. Clear? Any doubts? Beautiful idea. We'll solve a couple of questions. There are a couple of questions in the back. When we do that, you will get to know. Right? Lastly, I have an idea called successive change. What is successive change? I'm doing all theory in one stretch because I am more comfortable working with theory separate and question separate, because you'll also have the time to go recollect and come back. If I do a theory and immediately a question, there is no hard work there. You will know the next following question will follow that idea, and using that at that moment is very easy. So you need to do some work in the first class itself. So I'll do all theory in a stretch and then we'll be doing the questions. Okay. Now look at successive percentages. That's another idea that I have. What is successive changes? A value changes from A to B and from B to C. Alright. We'll take an example. I'm going to pick a question here. Let's say there is a value called A, and this value I'm going to increase it by 20%, and that becomes B. Now B, I'm going to increase it by another 10%, and that value becomes C. Now the question is, instead of going from A to B as 20% increase and B to C as 10% increase, if I decide to do straight A to C, how much percentage will be the increase? Instead of going from A to B and from B to C, first increase 20%, then increase it by 30%, 10%. Straight away if you go, yes, all your minds will say 30%, 20 plus 10. So understand this, there are a couple of things that you need to know. Okay. Now if I say there is a 20% increase, 20% increase of A, can I write this as 20% increase of A? Can I write it as 120% of A? Would I be wrong if I say this? 20% increase in A, instead of saying that's a 20% increase, Can we call it 120 percentage of A? If you have a question in your head, why is it 120% of A? That's a 20% increase in A, which means there is A, then there is 20% increase in A. So can I write this as 100 percentage of A plus 20 percentage of A? This is what is this, right? From here I am going here. That's all. Got it? So how do you write 120 percentage? There are multiple ways you can write 120 percentage. Depending on the question, I will change the format. Depending on the question, you will be able to change the format. The conventional method is A into 120 by 100, which I can write it as A into 6 by 5. Why is that so? Because it is A into 1 plus 1 by 5. What is 20%? 1/5 increase. A into 1 plus 1 by 5 is 6 by 5. You can write this. But the actual way of generally representing it is will be A into 1 plus 20 by 100, which becomes 120 by 100. A plus 20 hundredth of A. That's A into 1 plus 20 by 100. Clear? This is the conventional way. Okay? Remember this. Now, if you look at this format here, you need to understand A was increased by 20%. So B has a 20% of A extra attached to it. What is B is equal to? A plus 20% of A. Correct? This is what B is. Now, when you increase this by 10%, you are increasing this by 10%. You are also increasing this by 10%. Remember that. You are increasing A by 10%. You are increasing the 20% of A also as 10%. That's why we say here there is a 20% increase plus there is a 10% increase plus there is a 10% increase on 20%, which is what we call it. If there are 2% changes happening, X and Y, we call it, I know I hate X, I really don't, I'm not fond of this variable X and also the person X, no one is fond of it, but I have to use it here, X plus Y plus XY by 100. But there are 2% changes happening, call it X plus Y plus XY by 100. That's all. There is a derivation to do this here. I'll show you that. Imagine this. There is a value A increased by, let's say, or let me, there is a value called 100 increased by A percentage, some value here, let's call it X1, increased by B percentage, let's call it X2. So what are you doing? You are doing 100 into 1 plus A by 100. That's A% increase, right? That's how you would have written it. And this entire value is increased by 1 plus B by 100. When you solve for this, when you solve this entire part, you will finally get 100 into A by 100 plus B by 100 plus AB by 100 by 100. This is how you will get it. So don't go deep into the derivation here. That's not necessary. Simply say A% increase, B% increase. It's nice to know the derivation, but if it feels like that's a little too much in your head, feel free to dump it for now. We'll get to that later. You will say A plus B plus AB by 100. What if both of them are decrease? What if both of them are decrease then? You will say A% decrease, B percentage decrease. So it will be minus a, because that would have become 1 minus a by 100, right? Minus a minus b, minus into minus would have become plus. So that will become plus ab by 100. Question practices will get it. Yes, you will get it. Don't worry. Remember this property for now. When you do the practice, you will get to know what we are doing. So don't worry about it. You will need examples, and that's exactly what we are going to do. Right? So we're going to do a bunch of questions. We're going to do a lot of questions now. I'll try to finish it in time. But then we'll live with it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give you 5 minutes. I'm gonna give you 5 minutes time, and I want you to solve question number 1, question number 2, question number 3, question number 4. Yeah, do 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll give you 5 minutes. Vijay Kumar says this has become too complicated to understand. I don't know which part is complicated, Vijay Kumar. Feel free to shoot it. I'll try to help you out. Now, sometimes I understand that the very first go, you will feel like this is a little too much for you. Now, let's understand two things here. Aryamaniyar will solve questions. You will understand what we have done all this while. All this while, I did not give you any values. We simply ran through theory. Now, theory practical exposure is way better than your theoretical exposure. That's exactly what we are going to do now. Right. Vijay Kumar, feel free to shoot your questions. Now, let's understand that there needs to be some sense of comfort that you need to build over time. And that will take time. I know for a fact it could be a little challenging. But when you do questions, you'll start to understand this. Kajal, that's a nice question. If you are able to solve a question but do not understand the reason or basis behind it, will it work? There are two parts to this question actually. Will it work? It might. For all you know, it might. But should it work? It shouldn't. Now I am a huge advocate of to not do something without knowing why. We all live in a world where we follow things without a reason. We execute things without even knowing why. Right? I'm not a big fan of it. I'm a huge advocate of know what you do. Know why you do a certain thing. But in this class, in my class, the least that I tell people is when you start doing it, you will start to understand why this is happening. I will never shy away from telling you why this is happening. Not once in my class you will see me say, remember this will come to help. I will not blindly give you a formula, blindly give you a property and say this will work every time. That's why for every question I'm trying to give you, that's why I'm trying to give you the reason, the theory behind every question that I solve. So you will get to see me do that every now and then. So I don't believe in to do things without knowing how it works. So don't do that. Start to learn. Be curious about why this is working, why this is happening. It will take you to better places. Sorry folks, I was standing in the middle. Sorry for being a bad sport. Or should I still go to the side? Okay. Right. So can I do the questions or do you want me to give you more time? Should I give you a couple of more minutes or shall we start solving them? Let's start solving. And here we go. So first question, most of them are basic here. So let's start cracking them. A man spends 41% of his monthly income on groceries. If the grocery expense is 205, what is the household's monthly income? Now notice this, there is an income here, out of which 41% goes on groceries. That's given. So 41% on groceries is what we are looking at. Now, what is the question asked? What is the household's monthly income? So can I say this 41% is given as 205. So can I say 41% of income is 205? That's all. So you would say 41 by 100 into I is equal to 205, or I is equal to 205 into 100 divided by 40. That's all. So 41 and 205 go well in 5 times. So I is equal to 500. Simple. The other way I look at this is 41% of something is 205, that is given. They are asking what is 100% of that value, right? They are simply asking what is 100% of that value. All I will simply do is divide this entire equation by 41. Divide this completely by 41. So what will you get? 1% is equal to 5. Multiply this by 100 on both sides. So 1 into 100 is 100%, 5 into 100 is 500. That will be our answer. See, do not feel bad that you are using calculators, okay? Now, I understand that has not been your zone for a long time, or doing all these math calculations and everything. That will put you down. I'm telling you, slowly transition out of it. I tell people this very often. We have gotten so used in our life that every activity in our lifetime is dependent on some tech stuff. Some gadget has to come to help us. I'll give you this one nice example. I don't know if you folks even remember that there's something called an alarm clock existed. A few years back, some 20 years back, there was bedtime alarm clock. You'd have seen that in Mr. Bean cartoons or a lot of shows. You'll see an alarm clock by the bed desk. I'm pretty sure none of your households have that today. None of your households have a bed desk alarm. All of you use the alarm clock on your phone. One gadget replaced another, right? We've gotten so used to using that now. Your mobile phones happen to be your device gadget for almost everything. Life, I tell people, Gadgets make your life easier. Sometimes it makes us inefficient. We need to learn to unwind ourselves from gadgets. As an aspirant, you need to unwind yourself from gadgets. You need to detox, do the detox very, very actively. You need to do that. If you happen to be an active doom scroller, you need to work out of it. You need a lot of time to prepare for the test. So do that. That's important. So you have gotten used to use this use this gadget every time. Now the moment I give you even the simplest problem, your mind will say, pull out a calculator, do this. I am not against that. All I am telling you is, try to come out of it by a certain extent and try doing some calculations by yourself. I will teach you a few tricks, but you need to practice. Right? Any doubts? So this is one shortcut that I do. If you ask me for a shortcut, the one word that I don't like is a shortcut. I hate the word shortcut. I more often use the logical way of doing it. This is a logical way. Right? Any doubts? Folks having questions out of the class, out of the topic, save them, shoot your questions after the class. I'll stay back, I will resolve them and then we'll sign off. If you shoot them in the middle of the class, I'll also find it a bit difficult to follow up the question and then answer them. So hang on tight, okay? A quick question. Okay, I did not ask you this question in a long time. I think I forgot to ask this. Are you guys comfortable with my pace, language and explanation? Do you want me to slow down? Do you want me to, I cannot change the language obviously. If you feel like that I'm going a bit too fast, let me know. Yes, anyone? Okay, the yes, I feel like you are saying you are comfortable. If anyone feels like that I am going fast, say fast. Okay. If you want me to repeat any question, feel free to say repeat. I will do it. Do not slow down. Okay, slow down. But not fast. Okay, that's a mix here. A couple of people are finding it to be a bit fast. I'll rework it. Now look at the second question here. Now if you notice here, there are 3 parts to the same question. Please be fast. Okay, fine. There are 3 parts to this question. Now what happens here is, in the language of English, or not just English, any language, oh, it's slow. Okay, fine. Folks finding it to be slow, I am sorry. I have to be slow to a certain extent because there are people who are picking up their pace now. If you are finding it to be slow, hang on for some time. When the other people catch up with us, it will get better for us. We need to respect everyone in the class. People who are finding it fast is what I am slightly concerned about. If you are finding it to be slow, I need to be a little slow. If I go a little fast, some people will have problem. We all will have a problem. I will have to redo everything twice, thrice, 3 times in a row. So until people catch up, let's be reasonable. Let's hang on. I know it will be frustrating. You'd have gotten the answer and you'll have to sit 5 minutes looking at the screen, hoping that that question gets over. I get that point, but unfortunately we need to be considerate at the beginning and I have to look at everyone here, right? Sorry about that. I get you. I would be frustrated. If I were in a class and if I've understood something, if the teacher is repeating it for the 3rd time, I'll be super frustrated. I know that happens. Oh, that will be only for a certain time. Once people catch up, we are all good to go. We'll sprint. We are jogging now. I know your jogging is not your style. We'll start to sprint very soon. Right? So coming back to this question. Now in English or any language, we say every word matters. It's a very beautiful line. And I strongly agree with this. And it also matters where that word is placed. You have to be very particular about what is the sentence, where is that word placed. Both of them works for us, is important for us. An example that I can give you is this stupid phrase that happens to go around in Instagram and on all social media that says, I love you, but I love you are in the same. And every time I look at this and I'm like, this is bad. I love you, but I love you. They do not convey the same meaning, which I agree. Right? Where you place that word matters. What word is being used matters. If you look at the question here, all three questions are one and the same. They haven't changed. Except for one word everywhere. Here it is to, here it is from, here it is or. Now my question will be, does that word change the meaning of the sentence? And my answer is bloody yes. The answer is a bloody yes. That one word changes the meaning of the question, changes the assumption of the question, changes the fact of the question. What do I mean by that? Look at this. The price of a car decreased by 20%. Here also it is decreased by 20%. Here also it is decreased by 20%. But it has decreased by 20% to 2,40,000 rupees. Now it says it decreased by 20%. It has decreased to 2,40,000, which means there was an initial price for A, for question number A, there was an initial price. The price went down by 20%. The price went down by 20% and it has come to 2.4 lakhs. Or can I say there is a 1/5 reduction. So this is my 4/5 of my initial value. This is my initial value. There is a 1/5 reduction in it. My final value will be 4/5 of my value. Can we say that? Would it be fair to say that? From here, can we say 4/5 of my initial value, 4/5 of my initial value is 2.4, or my initial value is 2.4 into 5 divided by 4. So this is 0.63 lakhs. Clear? Any doubts? To get that, the first question, 2,40,000, that's reduced by 20% and it has gone to 2,40,000. So original price is 3 lakhs. Look at the second question. The price of a car decreased by 20% from 2.4 lakhs. What does this signify? Your initial value is 2.4 lakhs. This is your initial value, has gone down by 20%, which is 1/5 reduction to my final value. So can I say my final value is nothing but 4/5 of my initial value, 4/5 times I. Can we say that's 4/5 of the initial value? Or I'll simply say F is equal to 4/5 into 2.4. 2.4 into 4 is 9.6. 9.6 divided by 5 will be 96 will be 19.2. So this will be 1.92 lakhs. Right? Why 4/5? Folks, original value I is there. You are reducing 1/5 of that value. Correct? There is a reduction of 1/5 of the value from the original value. How would you write? Initial minus 20% of initial, right? That's how you would write it. That's how you would have written this. Eternal Pilot is asking, are there any concept after these questions? Yes, there are no concepts, problems. For those folks who are asking why 4/5, clear with this. What is 20%? 1/5. So what is I minus 1/5? 4/5i. Isn't it? Clear with that? Kumadacharya, Ishan Joshi, New Sriraj, everyone? Any doubts? Yes? Banu says, I guess you are taking too much care about us. That's why you don't have hair. There are other reasons, folks. There are other reasons. So can we focus on the third part now? Look at the third part. Final price of the car decreased by 20% or 2,40,000. What do you mean by decreased by 20% or 2,40,000? It's saying you can say it is decreased by 20% or you can say it has decreased by 2,40,000, or in other language the decrease is 2,40,000 or 20% is 2,40,000. Can I say that there is an initial value that has decreased by 1/5 of the value, or in other language it has decreased by 2.4 lakhs and it has become 4/5 of my initial. Or I can say 1/5 of my 1/5 of my initial is 2.4 lakhs, or my initial value will be 2.4 into 5, that will be 12 lakhs. Clear? I've gotten used to it, man. Please don't write lakhs. I've gotten used to it. Sorry, can't help it. Clear? Can we use inverse proportionality here? You can. To these two parts, yes, you can. We'll hop on to the next question then. From here, you'll start getting a little faster. You'll start to see that you would have picked up the pace, you would have understood the concepts better by applying those logics, or you'll go a little faster. So don't worry. Pavan Naik is asking how to get 1/5. Pavan, 20% is 1/5. Recap the percentage fractional table. That's why I told you. Go back, hit the table, connect it here, you'll start to understand it. Clear? Surekha is asking, can we solve it? 2.4 into 100 by 80. 2.4 into 100 by 80 is 2.4 into 5 by 4. That's what I also did. You can do that. Asana is asking, when I know till when the class will be? Will probably extended by another 20 minutes, Archana. The class usually goes from 7 to 9, but I suck at punctuality with respect to finishing the class. The class will start at 7, but I'm really bad at time management when it comes to this. I feel like this is not enough, so I'll go a little overboard. Get used to it. I'm sorry about that. I know I shouldn't be saying this, but then I do it for your betterment. I think you all will understand that. If anyone has a complaint about it, feel free to tell me. You can sign off, come back and visit the recordings later. You have that leverage. You can view it as many times as you want. But in my head, I would want to finish off everything that I had planned for the day. Right? Can you please repeat the last part of the second question quickly? It will click later, devastator. It takes time. Now, conceptual clarity is something like a time bomb. It's not a remote control bomb. You can press it and it blasts. Bad example, I know. We don't talk about bombs. But that is the quickest example that came to my head. It takes time. It's like sowing a plant. You don't put a seed in the soil and it shoots up like a stalk. We don't have magic beans, unfortunately. You need to sow it. It takes time. So when you sow, you know it's going to happen. That's what happens in the class, right? So it takes time. Revisit the class. I'll tell you what to do. When we come for the next class, I'll do an AMA. We'll be doing a YouTube AMA. We'll sit. I'll tell you a bunch of things that you need to do and how to do it. I'll give you a proper briefing on that. So don't worry, right? Now coming back. The number of students in class A is 20% less than that of class B. So if there is class B, it says there is 20% less is class A. If class A had 300 students, then the number of students in class B is, class A has 300 students. What is B? So can I say A is 20% less than B, or can I say A is equal to 4/5 of B once again? Yes, the DPPs you will be solving it on the app, don't worry. Can I say A is 4/5 of B? Then B will become 5/4 into A. So that will become 5/4 into 300. So cancel it off. This will become 75. So this will be 375. So the answer here is 375. Or you can do this. Check this out here. There is a 1/5 decrease. Rachel is saying, are my questions that stupid even, sir? Rachel, I didn't even see your question, Rachel. I'm sorry. I didn't see your question, Rachel. I would answer even the dumb of the dumbest questions. In my head, there is nothing called a brilliant question or a dumb question. I don't have that partiality. You don't know a question, you don't know something, you are asking it. And questioning is the best way to learn something. I probably missed it. There are way too many messages popping up, but I happened to miss it. I'm sorry about that. So shoot it again at the end of the class. Probably I will attack it. Right? You can also do it this way. There is a 1/5 decrease. So there will be a 1/4 increase. What is 1/4 of 300? 75 increase. Increase it. You could also do it that way. Clear, folks? Ayushman Mishra, 360 is not the right answer. 375 it is. You need to rework your math, man. Check it out. Right? We'll hop on to the next question. We'll do this. Vaishnavi is asking how 1/4. Vaishnavi, remember the A by N. Whenever there is a 1/N increase, there is a 1/N plus 1 decrease. There is a 1/5 decrease from here. 20% decrease is 1/5 decrease. I need to increase it by 1/4. Property. Shagun and Vaishnavi, clear? It's a property that we learnt. Whenever there is a 1/N increase, there is a 1/N plus 1 decrease. I saw a 1/5 decrease. There has to be a 1/4 increase. Clear? Shagun and Vaishnavi, are we good here? Let me know. For the next one, a fruit basket contains 45% of oranges and the rest being apples. The rest of them have to be apples. If the difference between the number of apples to that of oranges is 20, the total number of fruits in the basket. Think about this. Total basket, it says that 45% are oranges. The rest means 55%. The remaining is 55%, right? So the remaining 55% is apples. So it says that the difference between apples and oranges is 20. So apples minus oranges is equal to 20. Why apples minus oranges? 55% of the total is apples. So obviously apples are more. So apples minus oranges is 20. Right? So you have to do this. There are a couple of math ideas that you can put here. One will say 55% of total minus 45% of total is equal to 20. This is the conventional way of doing it. I'll do that. 55% of the total are apples. 45% of the total are oranges. 55% of the total. My beginners follow कर सकते हैं क्या? Yes, you can. This is for beginners. starting from the scratch. So don't worry. So 45% of the total is 20. So solve for it. You will get 55 by 100 into t minus 45 by 100 into t is equal to 20. Take out t common. You will happen to have t into 55 by 100 minus 45 by 100 you will have. So that will be 10 by 100 is equal to 20, or t is equal to 20 into 100 divided by 10, which is 200. That will be your conventional way, but beyond a certain point you shouldn't be doing this. You should break out of this, solve it in the minimal number of steps that you can. And how do you do that? Look at this. This is 45% of the total. This is 45% of some x. This is 55% of the same x. What is the gap then? 10% of total. Straight away come to that. That's all. This is 45% of the total. This is 55% of the total. What is the difference between them? 10% of the total, right? What is 10% of the total? 20. 1 by 10 into t is equal to 20. T is equal to 200. You still get to the same value. Clear? Any doubts? Once again, if you want me to repeat, if you want to follow this through, you can ask, revisit that video again. Once the class gets over, it is always important that you revisit those concepts. You listen to them again. You can repeat it as many times as you want, obviously. So run through that idea as many times until you get comfortable with that idea. That's important. If you don't do that, I think there is some mistake in the way you are looking at the classes. Right? We'll hop on to the next question then. This is also a beautiful question to work with. A man spends 20% of his salary on rent, 40% of the remaining on groceries. Remember that it's not 40% on groceries, 40% of the remaining on groceries. Remember that. 25% of the remaining on miscellaneous expenses, and saves the rest. If he saves 9,000, what is his salary? Beautiful question. I'll show you there is something that you need to know here. Total salary is always 100%, right? The total of anything, the base value of anything will always be 100. You can never say total is 150%. You can say 150% of something, but the final value will always be my 100%. Your salary cannot be 120%, right? You cannot use that unless or until there is a condition that says otherwise. The total of anything, the base value of any value will always be 100. Will always be 100 any given day. That will never change, right? So in that case, 100% of the salary is there, 20% of the salary on rent, right? Which means there is 80% remaining. There is 80% of the value remaining. Now 40% of this value is spent on groceries. 40% of this value. What is 40% of this value? Technically you would write 40% of 80% of my salary, right? This is how technically you will write it. You simplify this, you will get 32% of salary. That's exactly what I am doing. What is 10% of 80%? 8%. So 40 times that value would become 32%. So this is 32% on what? Groceries. That means remaining there is 48%. Out of 80%, 32% is gone on groceries, leaving you with 48% of your total salary. So any value that I am writing here is on the base of my total salary only. This is 48% of your salary, not 48% of this value. You have broken it down. Clear? Now finally it says 25% of the remaining miscellaneous expense. 25% of this. What is 25% of this? 1/4 of this. What is 1/4 of this? 12%. 12% goes on miscellaneous, leaving you with 36%. So 36% of my salary is left out. That 36% is your savings. The data says he saves 9,000, or in other words I can say 36% of salary is 9,000, because 36% is saved. 36% of my savings is 9,000. Salary is 9,000, or I can say my salary is equal to 9,000 into 100 divided by 36. Right? So cancel it out. This goes well in 9. This will be 1,000 times. This will be 4 times. This goes well in 100, 25 times. So salary is equal to 25,000. That will be our answer. Clear? Any doubts? Any questions? That's how it is done. That's how it needs to be done. 25,000 is the right answer. Are we good here? We'll jump on to the next question. Okay. 7 and okay, we'll do all of them. Let's look at this question now. Beautiful question. Let's do this. 40% of the students in a class that has 40% girls had passed in an exam. So there is, okay, quick disclaimer. I think this disclaimer needs to be given here. Now, when you get questions like these, 40% of the class is girls, 20% of group is men. Let's understand that when you get a question like 40% of the class is women, the default understanding is that 60% are men. I know we live in a world where there are different opinions now. We cannot argue about those opinions, at least until the exam pattern tells us otherwise. So the default understanding is that when a question says there are 40% girls, it automatically means 60% are boys. We don't account for anything else, and that needs to be there until we have some other changes happening. So let's stick to it. Let's not argue about it. Don't come and question me. How can you say the rest are all boys? I know some of you might have that question. That's not a question that you shoot at me. It's a question that has to be dealt elsewhere, right? Giving you a heads up over there. So 40% of the students in a class that has 40% girls have passed in an exam. So it says that out of 100% in a class, 40% has passed, which means 60% of them have failed. Correct? 40% of the students are passed, which means 60% have failed. 40% of the girls, 40% of the class are girls. Out of the entire 100%, girls happen to be 40%. So boys happen to be 60%. 60% of our boys. Now, we'll do this question without using percentages. Why am I saying that? When an entire question goes around with percentages alone and there are no values attached to it, it will work for any number that we pick. It is going to account for every number that you pick. What do I mean by that? Instead of saying 100% of the class, let's say total students is equal to 100. Total students is equal to 100. Let's do this. If the total students are 100, what would have been the case? That's all. In that scenario, let's say 100 students are there, 40% have passed, which means 40 students have passed, 60 students have failed. In the same class, 40% are girls, remaining 60%, 60 students are boys. This will work. Now, if you look at this case now, 50% of the boys passed the exam. How many ever boys are there? 50% of them have passed. How many boys do we have? We have 60 boys, which means out of the 60 boys, 30 of them have passed, 30 of them have failed. 30 of them have passed, 30 of them have failed. Ask yourself this question. There are only 40 students who have passed overall. I know 30 of the boys have passed. So can I say out of this, 30 of them are boys, 10 of them are girls. Can we say that? So the number of girls who have passed is 10. Number of boys who have passed is 30. Now notice this. There are only 40 girls overall. Only 40 girls overall. Which means out of which 10 of them have passed, 30 of them have failed. So do we have everything that we need here? There were 40 girls, 10 of them passed, 30 of them failed. There are 60 boys, 30 passed, 30 failed. Yes. What is the question? What percentage of the female students failed in the exam? What percentage of the female students? So out of the female students, how many of them failed? I know there are 40 of them sitting here, out of which 30 of them have failed. So I'll say that's 30 by 40 into 100. That's 75% of the girls failed. Clear? Any doubts? 50% of the boys passed, 50% of the boys failed, 25% of the girls passed, 75% of the girls failed. Clear? Any doubts? Any questions? Are we good here? Just 4 more questions. We'll quickly do this. Right. A number is increased by 30%, then decreased by 15%. Find the net change. Now I'll show it to you in 2 ways. One by picking a value, one by doing our method. Okay. Now check this out. Take any number. I don't care what number we pick. You can pick any number that we want to work around with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 100. I'm going to increase it by 30%. I'm going to increase it by 30%, which will take the value to 130. And again, I'm going to decrease this value by 15%. I'm going to decrease this value by 15%. So 10% of this is 13 minus 13. 5% is minus 6.5 or minus 19.5. Subtracting 19.5 from this, you will go to 110.5. You will come to 110.5. So what is the net percentage change? From 100, you have gone to 110.5%, which is a net of 10.5% increase. Dev Gupta, it's not 11.5. 10.5. You need to be wary of your calculations, man. Check it out. This is your conventional way. We can do this. Or you can use the formula that we just spoke about. Increase, decrease successively. So how will I write it? A increase minus B decrease minus AB by 100. That's all. Apply A and B. We are done. What is the value of A? 30 minus 15 because it's decrease. A into minus B will be minus AB. So minus of 30 into 15 by 100. So this will be 15 minus, this gets cancelled. 10 and 15 is 1.5. 1.5 into 3 is minus 4.5, which is 10.5 percentage. Notice this is positive. So I will call this increase. If the net outcome is negative, you will say it is decrease. Clear? Any doubts? Any questions? We'll hop on to the next question, shall we? Shall we do that? Another question, nice idea. Check it out. A person spends 75% of his income. If his income increases by 20% and his expenditure increases by 10%, by what percentage do his savings increase? A simple idea here. Devastator, I'm sorry man, we'll wrap it up in another 5-10 minutes. We are good to go after that. I'm sorry. Happens. This happens to me every now and then. So a person spends 75% of the income. I don't know what the income is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fix a value again. Income is 100 rupees. 75% is 75 rupees. Spends, which means 25 rupees is savings. Right? 25% would have been saved, which is 25 rupees. But the question says income increases by 20%. So income from here it is increasing by 20%, which means your new income is 120. Expenditure increases by 10%. You start earning more, you start spending more. So what is the big deal here? So this value needs to increase by 10%. Your expenses, whatever expense that you are doing, now that increases by 10%, 10% of 75 is 7.5. So this will become 82.5. So out of 120, 82.5 rupees is spent. This is spends. Then what will be the saving? 120 minus this will give you 17.5, 37.5. That will give you 37.5% in your savings. So what value was 25 now has become 37.5. I used to spend 25, save 25 rupees. Now I'm saving 37.5 rupees, which means I am saving 12.5 rupees extra from 25 into 100. Beautifully goes 2 times. So the answer is a 50% increase. Clear? Any doubts? Aryamaniar, now I hope you are getting into the groove. You were saying that you were struggling earlier. Now, are you getting comfortable now? Anyone who said that you were finding it difficult to cope up, then all I am expecting, are you feeling better? You don't have to do better. You don't have to do better in the very first class. Shagun is asking how 82.5 came. Expenditure increases by 10%, Shagun. So what my 75 rupees was my earlier spendings, expenses, increased by 10%. What is 10% on 75? 7.5 rupees more takes you to 82.5. Clear? Same question with different values not related with 100. Let's do it. Let me take 40 rupees. You tell me, Dev Gupta, you wanted me to take a different value. You give me a value then. What value do you want me to give? I'll take the value that you tell me. I take 100 because it's convenient. If you're feeling, hey, will it work for another number? Let's prove it. Arya Maniyar is giving, let Dev give us a value because he wanted that, right? Dev wants us to do with 60, let's do 60. So out of 60 rupees, 75% will be 45, which is spends, which means 15 rupees is savings, correct? 75 rupees, don't worry about the math, it will come naturally. 75 rupees is 3/4 of the value. 3/4 is 45. In my head, they are convenient. You will get there, don't worry. Now the salary has increased by 20%. 20% is 1/5. 1/5 of 60 is 12. So the new salary is 72. The new salary is 72. So your spends has increased by 10%, right? That's a 10% increase on your spends. 10% of 45 is 4.5. So this value will be 49.5. Which means your savings, the rest will be your savings. 0.5 and a 22, this is 22.5. From 15 to 22, that's an increase of 7.5. From 15 into 100, still 50%. Clear? Any value, Arya Manyar is giving 70, Krish Kumar is giving 68, 999, take any value. Instead of taking 160, any value that you pick will work. The moment that entire question goes around in percentages without giving us any values, integral values, base values, I will not hesitate to take a value of my comfort. You can do it with anyone. You can do it with any way. How to take notes, how to make, how much copy we should have. I'll give you briefing about all of that, folks. Don't worry. We'll attack all those questions one at a time. We have gone a little overboard with the time. We'll compensate this off and then we'll get back to questions. Okay. If the price of sugar increases by 40%, by what percentage should a household reduce its consumption so that the total expenditure on sugar remains the same? Can we solve it with X, Dev Gupta? Yes. Do it with X. Instead of giving X, I gave it a value. That's all. Will work any day, any time. Look at this question. So there is a cost on sugar that goes up by 40%. Any value, and here it is 40%. If there is 40% increase in some cost, imagine this. You have a budget. The moment you have a budget, let's say you have a budget for petrol, monthly allowance petrol. The price of petrol keeps increasing in India. Sadly, we live in India. It keeps increasing. Few weeks back it was 100. Today it is 108. It keeps increasing. So when the price of a commodity goes up, you'll have to bring down the usage. You have to bring down the consumption. You have to bring it down. Because price and consumption determines your expenditure. Can I say your expenditure is equal to price into consumption? Can we say this? Price into consumption. In that case, expenditure is equal to price into consumption. When price goes up, consumption comes down. And the price goes up, consumption needs to come down so that your expenditure remains constant. It has to remain constant, right? Because the question says that your expenditure remains the same. It has to remain constant. So in this case, my expenditure is equal to P into C. But today, this month, the price has gone up by 40%. What do you mean by 40% increase? It's a 2/5 increase, right? 20% is 1/5, 40% is 2/5. Your price has increased by 2/5 of its value. So what happens to my consumption here? Into what? Expenditure is equal to 7/5P. 1 plus 2/5 is 7/5. 7/5 of the price. Now remember, your E needs to remain constant. P into C will give you E. P into C will give you E. You have a P here, you have a C here. If you multiply these two, you will get E. But there is a 7 by 5 sitting here, which needs to be cancelled off. You have to make it 1. How will you make it 1? Can I say my cost has to become 5/7 so that when you cancel it off, you'll again get P into C. So your cost has to come down, consumption has to come down by 5/7. Or can I say from my original consumption, I have to reduce 2/7 of my consumption. That is what is 5/7. So you have to reduce the consumption by 2/7. 1/7 is 14.28. 2/7 will be 28.57%. Clear? Any doubts? So there has to be a reduction of 28.57%. The other way of doing this would obviously be using the logic. The price has gone up by 2 by 5. The price has gone up by 2 by 5. Inverse proportionality, the other one has to come down. When one goes up, the other one needs to come down. By what will it come down? 2 by 7, which is 28.5. Clear? Any doubts? Ashwin, what is 5 by 7C? C minus 2 by 7C, right? That what will give you is 5 by 7. How did you get 5 by 7? 1 minus 2 by 7 is 5 by 7, which means your consumption has to come down by 2 by 7, which is 28.57%. Any doubts? Saki Mehta, clear? You also has the same 5 by 7. Kaise aaya? You are reducing from C, it has come to 5 by 7C. Clear? Any doubts? So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to behave like a school teacher. I'm going to do this, and I am not ashamed to do this. What I'm going to do is, this is going to be a homework question. There are 2 parts to this. Read the question clearly and carefully and then answer them. It matters. So when we come for the next class, I'll give you the answer for this question. We'll sit and discuss about it. Okay? Any doubts? Any questions? It is no fun to teach math without giving you homework, right? That would be unfair from my end. You might have a class tomorrow for the batch, but my next class will happen on Thursday. Now, some people were asking me for the Telegram groups. Let me step aside. Scan the QR codes that will take you to the groups. Right, scan them, it will take you. The one over here, it's your quant group. Bhaskar Sir Cat, my group, where you can interact with me, you can shoot your questions. We'll share a lot of questions, we'll sit and discuss. It's going to be super fun. Keep this active. How to keep it active? You shoot your questions, we sit and talk. This is a group for the entire part. Every information, you get all the informations for all sections, you get it here. For the quant section, you get it here for this batch. Jump in. Let's build a healthy peer group. Let's be super active. Let's make learning more interesting. Right? So we are basically done with the class. Now let me take a few questions. If you have any questions to ask me, shoot your questions. Do we get all the lectures recorded? Yes. You get all the lectures recorded, including this class, on the app, which you can see it infinite number of times. Can we complete the whole syllabus in 4 months? Saki, you are in the beginning of July. July, August, September, October. Your batch technically gets over in the first week of November, probably even before that. Will you be able to finish the syllabus on a class perspective? Yes, undoubtedly. No compromise with the topics, no compromise with the concepts being delivered. We'll cover up everything. Any batch that we had earlier, whatever they learned, you will also learn them. There are no compromises on that part, but you'll have to sit and practice them. We will cover the syllabus undoubtedly. Right? Notes taking method. I'm getting really hard time to solve maths because I'm not from a math background. Like now, also I don't get the basic and it's getting really hard for me to solve the problem. What should I do? Please tell me. Practice. Practice. Who was that? Sorry, I didn't see the name. Maniyar, you might, I think I'm calling your name out right. I'm sorry if I misspell any of your names. Sincere apologies. It's difficult, man. Come on. Practice is one way. I think there are fundamental batches sitting in the course, free batches courses sitting there. Check out to the people. All the basics, if you're even if you are a sucker at basics, if you haven't touched math in the last few 4-5 years, and if you say math really doesn't agree with me, do those fundamental classes. That will help you. I tell people no one is bad at math. It's just you are distant from it. You haven't touched it in a long time. That makes you feel like you are not good at it. So don't worry, do that. Keep practicing over and again. It's enough. Devastator is asking notes taking method. Mirza is also asking the same question. See, how do you take notes? Is a question. I'm going to be very honest. Most of my answers, I'm sorry for being brutal. I don't want to beat around the bush, make you fab. I won't try to make you feel better with at least the truth part. Notes taking is a skill that you need to develop over time. You write things that you don't know. You don't have to write the entire question now. You can revisit the slide. The slides, the solution videos, everything will be available for infinite number of appearances. You can visit it any number of times for playback. So if you aren't sure about a question, you look at the question, you solve them. If there is something that I teach you, if there is a technique that I teach you, and if you are new to it, you pen it down. None of your notes will look the same. You are not in school. You are definitely not in school where all your notes look same. We don't do that here. Carve out a technique that agrees with you. My note making structure has been entirely different. In fact, I'm very bad at taking notes. I'm super lazy at writing. If you look at my class, gradually you will see that I don't write a lot. I speak a lot, I write very minimally. Because I don't write, I hate writing. So very bad person to ask how to write. But then the one strong recommendation that I give you is write things that you feel like you might want to know them. Not you might want to. If you don't know something and if it feels like and you need to pen it down, pen it down. My strong recommendation, never skip something saying, hey, I've understood this. This concept is new to me. I've understood this. I don't have to write it. Do not dump anything. Anything that's new in your head, in your eyes, write it down. Anything. My recommendation will go there. But it is also not necessary you write everything that we write. You don't have to write the questions. You don't have to write every formula. You can refer it any number of times you want. But if you feel like you want to maintain a formula book, an error log, whatever it is, go for it. By all means, go for it. Right? I think I took the notes part. What about DPP? Folks, the daily practice questions, okay, the daily practice problems, you will get 30 questions for almost every class. Literally, you finish a class, there are 30 questions over there. Let me tell it to you straight to your face. You finish a class, you go do the DPP. The chances of you getting 30 on 30 on the very first go is this much. This 0.00001% chance. It's an unrealistic scenario. Right? I'll tell you, if you can get your hands on 10 questions, take 10 questions right, you're already starting strong. Gradually transition to the remaining 20 questions later on. Keep doing them. check the solution, check the text solution, video solutions. You have everything at your disposal. View them, see whether it is agreeing with you. Then go for it, right? It's okay to not do all the questions in the very first go. Don't feel upset. Do not put yourself down. Do not put your guards down saying, I didn't get all the questions right. I'm telling you it's okay. I'm telling you that's fine. There's no problem with them. Absolutely zero issues with them. Okay? What about notes? What about OMET? OMET will happen slowly and gradually, folks. We'll focus on this. This is the first class. We'll get information about all of that in due course of time. Most of my time is consumed by college. It's 9 to 5 and I get exhausted. Then the class is from 7 to 9. I don't know what the name is. Jenny, Jen. I don't know what it is. See, life is hard, man. Agree. You have your problem. WorkX people have their problem. They have a 10 to 6 login time and the class starts at 7 o'clock. Might have to carve out some time. If you feel like your weekdays are jam packed, compensate everything on the weekend. Spend, I know this is hard to say. You might have to spend at least 6 hours overall for all 3 sections put together on the weekends. Your target has to be at least 2 hours a day from here. Minimum 3 hours a day. 3 hours a day in a week, that's 21 hours. Do the classes, do some reading, do some practice, bare minimum practice, looking at solutions, watching the class, revisiting everything also counts. Do all of that. Spending 20 hours a week is a mandatory thing from today until CAT. There's no, there are no negotiations over there once again. Don't bargain with that. Might have to carve out a time. I know it is difficult. I know it's very easy when said, but figure out a way. Try compensating your weekends, your holidays with the time that you have lost on weekdays. That's the only thing that you can do. There's really nothing I can say about that. That's the only chance. Right? When will the notes show on the app? After the class. From tomorrow. Maybe once, I think from tomorrow, it should be there available. I was a PCMB student, not a good one. Spoiler, you will get better. Your calculations is not your concern. Don't worry. Do not worry about your calculation speeds. That's an insignificant problem that you are thinking about right now. You are thinking about some problem that technically don't even exist. Don't worry. In your head, it feels like a problem, but it is not. Right? Oops. Right. Apart from DPPs, where else should we practice? You have the books, do that. PYQs is the best place to go around. Follow it. Any suggestions for students who have started? Spend more time. Practice as many questions as you can. Spend more time on reading. For VARC, reading part is also important. It also helps you with your exhaustion. Do that. Be positive. The one suggestion that I give to people in general, anyone who starts in June, July, don't put yourself down saying I have started late. You haven't started late. There's nothing called late. You have 4-5 months till the exam. You're looking at solid 4.5 months of preparation from here. You have ample amount of time to catch up. You'll do better, in fact. You're not even catching up. You just have to sprint. Some people started jogging. Now they are sprinting. You have to start with the sprint. That's the only difference. That will not exhaust you. That will not tire you as long as you're committed, determined. Who to contact when we have a doubt or query regarding the batch we purchased? You might have to drop them a mail. I'll check who the concerned person is. I'll get back to you. Join the group. Post your queries over there. I'll help you out with it. Some of the classes will be pushed early, so you won't be doing till November 20, man. Don't worry. How many hours of study should I put? 3 hours. Again, I just spoke about that. Where to see the fundamentals video? Is it on our app or YouTube? I'll check. When we do the next class, I'll give you a briefing on that. Okay. Even I'm not really sure about it. This percentage is part completed, part 1 is completed, we have part 2. Right, I think we have summed up almost every question. Can we solve Arun Sharma? Go for it. Go for Oswald, Arun Sharma, whatever book that you have, go for it. Solve. As long as you are not exhausted, if you feel like you still have it in you to solve a few more questions, never a problem. Don't overdo something. You are having attitude. Oh, B. Banu, I didn't see your question, Banu. Why would I skip it? I need to see the question. What is your question? I'm sorry, I didn't come across it. Can you drop it again? Not able to see your question. You aren't clearing my doubts. What is the question? Well, we'll do an AMA session, folks. Probably by next week, in a week's time. We'll do a few AMA sessions, not a few, at least one. We'll do a 40-45 minute session. We'll sit and talk about everything that we need to know. Okay. Will there be a DPP today? Yes, there will be a DPP today. There should be a DPP today. Banu, I still don't see your question. Banu 494. Drop your question. I'll answer you. Can you suggest some basics to go through before class? Bad with math. I'll help you. Next class when I come, I'll come up with a few suggestions, solutions that will help you. Rachel, you will get better, Rachel. Don't worry. How to use the quant book of PW? All these questions, folks, I know there are a bunch of questions. I'll talk to the team. We'll probably have an AMA session where you can shoot all these questions. We'll spend a dedicated 1 hour on that. That should help us. Okay. Can we leave if we don't have questions to ask? By all means. Yeah, of course. I'm here to answer the questions. If you feel like you don't want any answers, feel free to sign off. You're good. 3 hours daily apart from classes. Yes. The 2 hours that you spend in a class do not count. 3 hours of practice. I'm referring to 3 hours of practice. I didn't get a single word today. After hours, revisit the class. See, I know there is a gap. This is bound to happen. I'm not saying I will obviously try to do better for you again. I'll see what best I can offer for you. At the same time, your effort the effort from your side should also be there. In fact, it has to be more than what I give. So spend some more time with the video again, run through all the questions, all the topics again. Make yourself feel comfortable. You need to do it. Revisit it. If you have any doubts, post it on the group, send it to me. We'll sit and discuss. There was someone, who was that? I forgot the name. 480 something. Banu, yes. Banu, your question is still pending. I don't have a class with you folks tomorrow. Check the schedule if you have any other classes with some other faculty. Are we done then? I'm going to wait for a couple of more minutes. And then I'm going to close this. Mirza, I said all those parts we'll attack it later. We'll have a session on a complete briefing on what to do before class, what to do after class, how should you do it, where should you do it. We'll have one briefing all on that. because it's quite a lengthy one. Alright, then there was this one student who said typing and still the question hasn't come. Banu, if you have your question, post it on the group. We have the Telegram channel over there. Join the group, post your question over there. We'll address it there. Right? It should reach you in a week, Vaishnavi. Don't worry. Alright then, folks. Thank you. Have a great evening ahead. Have a great week ahead. We'll see you in the next class.